And we are live. Welcome on your TV sets in Texas and Louisiana, as well as joining from around the world on our great platforms like X and LinkedIn and YouTube and all the rest of them. We have a fantastic show lined up here today. There's a lot to cover. There's a lot going on. It was pretty funny as I was putting together the title here. Of course, I get to run a long title on X. I don't get to run that long of a title on all the other ones. But on X, I get to run a long one. And there's a lot going on. I mean, there is a lot going on. From one end of the world to the other, of course, we have Putin. Putin is in North Korea with his buddy Kim, who's Trump's buddies too, right? Kim Jong-un, the North Korea guy, went over there and crossed the thing, shook his hand. That was all pretty interesting. I think that he was the guy that Obama had told Trump that there was one country or one group that was really the problem, and they were the biggest enemy. And I think that he had said North Korea because Trump was a little bit surprised, but I didn't get the whole story on that. But maybe not. So that is happening right now. They're having their meeting as well. Russia boards a ship, and not just any ship, but they board a Coast Guard ship at the Philippines. Now, the Philippines is a fun place, but this is really, it's very much funded, controlled by the United States. That's, their Coast Guard is, I don't know, we probably sold them the ships. We probably trained those people. Very much our ally. We have military bases there. We have missiles and everything else. Very interesting development. If you want to say interesting, you could say disturbing or scary as well. That's remains to be seen kind of what comes from that. But China gets on the Coast Guard ship of the Philippines. So that is pretty interesting. The SEC has dropped the suit versus Ethereum. And this is big news, guys. I mean, what in the world? You got to sit there and think, what in the world are they doing? And I think, I guess nothing's going to happen with Ripple either. I'm not saying something should happen. I'm just saying, these are long, drawn out suits, cost everybody a lot of money, make markets completely move, change the way people do business, scares companies from doing business in the U.S., scares them out of the U.S., okay? And then they just dropped the suits. It's, I'm glad they dropped the suit, but this is craziness. This is craziness the way to me, it looks that this is operating. This looks to me like it's absolutely crazy. As well, we have, of course, the, let's see, Putin meets Kim. Oh, Biden cancels his Netanyahu meeting after Netanyahu puts out this kind of like, I don't know what that was, video, just like shaming everybody that we would dare to not send weapons to them. Like, this is like one of the richest countries in the world. And he got to be on our dime, like, and our closest ally. When was the last time they fought for us? I'm all for, beating the bad guys, but I don't want to have to pay $2,000 every month via inflation to do it. You guys are rich. You guys are a very rich country. Grow a set. That's all I'll say about that. Okay, we got the Barby interview, the Barby Ingle interview. That's up next. We also have the cast showcase, and then of course the great Matt Dixon will be joining the show as well. So we are short on time. So I have the Barby Ingle interview here queued up. I interviewed Barby yesterday. She is running in Arizona for the state legislature, and she's really great. She's doing some great stuff, and we should support her. She is America first. America first, guys. America first. Remember that. It's America first. Nobody else is going to put America first but us. America, ours. We're supposed to put America first, just like Netanyahu was putting Israel first, right? That's his job. So I guess you can't get mad at him, but you can scold him. All right. So here is the interview with Ingle. Barby Ingle. And here she is. Boom. And we are back here. I have with me today Barby Ingle. Barby Ingle is a candidate for the Arizona State Legislature, right? To be a rep at LD7 is her district, if I'm saying that correctly. So I know it's a tight. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of people we've talked to even over on the show over the last few weeks and months. You know, there's like some shenanigans in New York. There's this happening in other states. You know, Arizona is a hot state, right? This is a highly contested place. Tell us a little bit about what you're facing there, and maybe what was the inspiration for running.
So I am in LD7, as you said. Legislative District 7 goes from Flagstaff at the top of the state all the way down to Florence, then east to Oracle, and then back up through Navajo Nation. So it's quite a large area that I would be serving. And there is 6 Republicans in the race for LD7. So it's going to be 2 seats, and 6 of us will drop down to 2 of us in July 30th at the primaries. And I got in for a few reasons. One, I've been working on legislation for many years. Since 2009, I've been working on health legislation, not just here in Arizona, but in 36 other states federally, as well as with the Department of Defense. And I've written 7 bills. 2 of them are now law, but I've worked on over 100 bills throughout the years. And I really want to make a difference in people's lives. And last year, I was asked by local reps to represent Pinell County in the race, because over the last few years, we haven't had a representative for the state from Pinell County representing in the House of Representatives, and they wanted to give us a voice. So they saw the work I had been doing and that I was effective. I knew what I was doing, even though I'm new to legislation, to being a legislator. I'm not new to legislation. And they asked me to step up, and I prayed about it, talked to my family, and decided to jump in.
Well, it is it's a big load, right, on your shoulders. You know, it's a weight. I mean, it's for the family too, right? It's not just you that has to do it. Obviously, you're the front person, but there's a lot. So you've done a bit of legislation before. How have you found that? I mean, obviously you liked it. You're going to run now you're running now for office. How did you find things working?
I think that so far everything is going very well, because I know the process and behind the scenes, and it takes about 32 steps to get a bill from idea to law, and it could die at any one of those steps. And knowing how to navigate through that, it's given me a little bit less pressure than maybe a new legislator, but it is a lot of work. And I've just been finding pleasure in knocking on doors, meeting people, being out in the community, going to all of the community events and hearing other people's pain points and saying, hey, there's ways that we can work on this and fix it to make it so that we all have better daily living and that we're impacting our community in a positive, productive way. And so for me, it is not necessarily pressure. It is hard, but I'm willing to do what's hard because it's what's right.
Amazing. Well, we just had one of those helicopters fly over, not Air Force One, but some type of military helicopter. And they're obviously doing something that jammed my signals there a little bit. But I think we could hear you pretty much the whole time. Well, you know, it is, you know, Arizona is such a hot race. So you're up against 6 people. There's going to be 2 that get seated. Is that correct?
Correct. 2 will get seated.
Okay.
And the 2 Republicans chosen on July 30th will go against the 2 Democrats for the November 5th election.
Okay. And then so coming up very shortly, you have is that a primary, or how is that?
Yes, it's the primary. And we've been doing debates leading up to it. We have a couple more coming up before we have the primary election on July 30th. But I've been doing very well at the debates. In one of the debates, I was able to, the audience scored us, and I was able to win 2-1 over second place. So, or almost 2-1 over second place in that debate. And so that felt really good. And I look forward to hopefully winning one of those 2 seats and representing my district as well as Arizona, and hopefully helping make America great again too.
That's right. Well, that's what it's all about. We have it's such a important time in the history of the country and the world. I mean, everything matters so much, and it's like running for office. It's like taking you're putting yourself in front of all types of poisonous needles.
Yeah.
And it's very hard. What are you finding is the most challenging part about it?
The hardest part right now is probably because the economy is so bad. I think fundraising is a lot lower than it has been in past years on the state and local levels. But I'm finding other ways to work around it to be fiscally responsible and to get the most out of everything that I'm doing. I also, every single thing that I do is scrutinized. So even people that are on my side will say, hey, Barby, we need to go this direction, and having to stand up and say, you know what, I am not necessarily thinking that, and this is the reasons why. And once I share as to why I'm going a certain way, say on an education bill or a border security option, then it's like, oh, okay. But having to go back and explain all of those things that I do believe in and why I believe in them is something that I didn't expect. But with 6 people in the race and we're all Republican and we all have conservative values, we really get down to the nuances of what each of us believes and what best fits the public. So in one way, it's a little harder. In one way, it's easier because it definitely, if they're for that guy, then they're not for me, and vice versa. So it's definitely something that helps get the who we are at our core and what we plan to do going forward to the people, and that's important.
Amazing. So I know you've done a lot of work as well with the veterans. We had a short conversation yesterday. Tell us a little bit about that.
I have been, both of my parents were Army veterans. My mom is buried in Arlington National Cemetery with honors. She was an Army colonel and the head of nursing at Walter Reed, and served in Vietnam in the First Persian Gulf War. My father was an Army officer and then did 20 years as a civilian for the Army in logistics. And they really taught me to love my country, that the service and sacrifices of our veterans and of our military give me my freedoms and liberties to live the life that I can live here in the United States, the best country in the world. And they taught me to honor and respect and serve every way that I could in the community, our veterans. And I believe that they should have access to proper and timely care. They should have the support of the community behind them. And I have stepped up and used my voice to get them care by testifying at the Department of Defense, by hosting events for our military, and by educating our medical professionals in the military system so that our patients are getting better care. And actually been going with veterans to doctor appointments to make sure that they are getting what they're supposed to be getting.
Well, it's really important work, and it's so easy. We have the VA here in DC, and I see the guys there in line all the time. I'm also from a military family, and it's a lot. It's so much. We have so many layers of bureaucracy. I was at a central bankers luncheon, which was kind of funny because I'm always like down the banks and everything else, but and they were talking about the levels of bureaucracy that we have. It's just levels upon levels of bureaucracy. And then their solution was pretty funny. The solution was to add another layer of bureaucracy, but it's crazy, right? Yeah, yes. I know.
We need to lower the regulations on the bureaucracy of across a lot of areas: energy, finance, yep, healthcare, and get back to the consumer provider relationship in healthcare especially, but and making sure our vets get the treatment that they deserve. But in so many areas, as you said, in banking, so many areas that needs to be done.
And then, not to throw a curveball at you or anything, but the House passed this, I guess, the reinstatement of the draft. I mean, obviously, it has to go to the Senate. Senate now seems kind of like a rubber stamp, though, these days to me. And they're now, I guess, going to call up women. I mean, it seems kind of crazy to me. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think that women shouldn't be in combat zones, even if they are as strong as the weakest man. I don't think that they should be in combat zones. Although my mother did serve and she did earn the rank of colonel, it's not something that she had to do. It's something she chose to do for our country. And I think that there's a difference between men and women and males, females, and that there shouldn't be a draft on females.
Yeah, it's so foreign to me. It just like keys into this whole like degradation of the family unit. You know what I mean? And the roles. It just feels so strange. So all right. So we have our primary coming up. It's like 3 weeks away.
Yes.
How do people find you? What's the website? How do they support you? What's the easiest way they can support you and help get the word out and get you what you need?
The easiest way that people can support me is go to barbyingle.com, Barby with a Y, Ingle with an I. And you can check out all my priorities. You can make a donation if you're able to help me out. And you can also use the contact me form to ask me any questions, send me comments, and let me know what you're thinking.
All right. So that's barbyingle.com. I'm
Yes.
just trying to.
And I'm also on all the social medias except for TikTok.
She is.
Oh, Barby Ingle, B-A-R-B-Y. I was muted. Barby Ingle, B-A-R-B-Y-I-N-G-L-E. Make sure to barbyingle.com. Also, same on the X account. Sir Matt, how are you?
Hi, good morning. Good, thank you. That was an interesting conversation. Very smart lady.
She is a very smart lady, and she didn't talk about a lot of stuff, really. There's a lot to her.
Yeah, interesting. So I was going to talk a little bit today. Obviously, we've got this big ETH launch coming up. It's actually going to be next week now.
Huge.
But we're nailed on for next week. So I'll probably give a little bit of a teaser about it today.
Cool.
I think you've got a link, haven't you, Bruce, somewhere for the...
What's that?
I think you have a link for one of the ETH pages. Is that right?
I do. I will pull it up here.
Before I jump into some of the other things, I mean, there's some really interesting tokens I'm going to look at. One of them hit a new all-time high very recently.
Yeah, I know we have a better one than I'm looking. That's the first one that came across here. But I'll pull it up as we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we're going to be hitting the Solana blockchain this month, so next week, really. And we're going to be unleashing a host of exclusive features for token holders as it becomes one of the first AI tokens on Solana. So they're one of the first mainstream AI tokens on Solana. It's got a universal use case. So with Solana being the chain of choice, the retail chain of choice, we think it's the right way to go. So we're going to be featuring the AI-powered ratings, and we've got everything. I'm not sure what you're sharing on the link, but basically the link will give you access to the white paper, the light paper, more information about the ratings. We've been developing these ratings for now 5 years. It's actually on my LinkedIn. There's a 5-year anniversary there. We rank over 700 crypto assets in virtually in real time, and these are free to all registered users. You know, you can access the ratings for free. And we've touched on a few of them. It's really powerful. And we've demonstrated a few here on the Impact Money Show. So hopefully people will be able to see the value and see the need for this for everybody around the world. And we're using this efficient frontier portfolio approach. This is something that won us the Bybit hackathon. It was an international hackathon It's in November, I think it was 2023. We won that, and that was basically because combining the traditional evaluation methods of modern portfolio theory and combining that with the latest artificial intelligence and adaptive computing to give you these amazing technologies to take us into the into the future of trading, really, to empower traders to have institutional grade information at your fingertips. So there's all sorts of things that will be there. There's a token buyback facility. There's a fund which will basically showcase the power of the ratings. There's eBay Foundation. There's ways that will be fueling future adoption, and there'll be incentives for token holders. So the one thing about when you're looking at tokens, are they investable? Well, within the eBay, there'll be staking, and we'll be able to demonstrate via the trading through our fund, and to demonstrate and reward people for being involved in that. Just by virtue of being a token holder, you'll get rewarded. You get rewarded for referrals, you get rewarded for contributions, etc., etc. So there's lots coming for the eBay token, and I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity to get involved in that. But what I'll do, I'll just go back to our...
I did get it up here, evay.io/about-evay-token. I think was the link that it was sent over once I got queued into what I was supposed to be doing over here.
Yeah, so that should give you a lot more information about it. I would encourage you to have a look because there's not many opportunities. We've actually directed you to a few. I mean, I'll touch on one in a moment, Toncoin. Toncoin is that token which reached all-time high 9 days ago. There's not many tokens done that. The market's been a little bit in the doldrums of late, but to reach all-time high, and this is one that we've been featuring before that happened, before the all-time high, it was upgraded by the ratings, by eBay ratings, so showing the power of the ratings. We featured it. It's got some amazing use cases again within the TON token, particularly within gaming, but also it's got the world record for transaction speed. An amazing token. We'll just have a quick look at that chart. In fact, I think I'll just share screen as usual and just jump into that chart probably.
Perfect.
Yeah, great. So hopefully you can see my screen there, Bruce.
We can. Look at that. It looks like a nice, fairly nice entry point.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I love about this, it's not being one of those, there's a lot of tokens that they basically pump up really, really sharply in the beginning, and then they dump. And so you get the pump and the dump, and then they have to work to recover. This one has been a gradual build, and I'll just touch on another token in a minute as well, Ondo, which again has been a gradual build. There's been no pump and dump particularly. So I think that, well, just on that basis alone, they're pretty good. What I did, I measured the magnitude of the A wave, transposed it to the end of the B wave here, and I've got a target up there at $10 for Toncoin. I mean, there's no guarantees, but that would actually be the most reasonable target for the C. That's assuming, by the way, a more bearish outlook of an ABC, which is a big correction, rather than 1, 2, 3. If it's 1, 2, 3, we might have way higher to go, but I'm looking at a reasonably conservative estimation here. And as I say, potentially $10. Right now we're $6.80. So that must be somewhere around 40% higher than here as a potential rise. Obviously no guarantees. So you do your own due diligence, you set your risk reward, your stop losses, all that kind of thing. But the upside potential, 40% upside, is looking, a reasonable possibility there. And we're just round about this support level, about it's actually the 0.618 of the pullback. So that's a reasonable 0.618, sorry, of the wave A we've got here, pulling back to that. So that's a reasonable level of support. So I think we're somewhere near support potentially. So good risk reward and good potential upside. So as I say, we mentioned Toncoin. We mentioned it, I think, when it was down at, we first mentioned it when it was down around, I think it dipped to something $4 something. But right now, as I say, it was all-time high only 9 days ago at somewhere around $8. So we're down a bit from there. But as I say, if we can push to 10, you got 40% there. I'll just touch very quickly on another token that I came across. Somebody mentioned it to me, asked me to look into it on my X feed today. So I looked at it. And again, it's one of those tokens which there's no apparent pump and dump there. And I hate it when you see these tokens, which you can see the gradual rise here. It's actually really nice from the bottom left to the top right, a gradual rise. So when you have a pump and dump situation, yes, some people make a lot of money, but it's usually the few big token holders in at the start, like these meme coins. There's just a few, whether you call them fortunate, lucky, whatever you want to call them, or corrupt, I don't know. People who held a big chunk at the start and they sold out at the expense of everybody at the top. That's what happens with a lot of these pump and dump situations, particularly with meme coins. And that, as I'm saying, that is not the situation here. It wasn't the situation with Toncoin. It's not the situation with Ondo. And I've looked into the use case and everything of Ondo. It seems to be a really solid use case, great utility. As I say, a really gradual rise. And we appear to have had from, we've had 100% push up from, I measured this first wave to here, the pullback, transpose it to there, and then we got to 100%. So that would normally typically be a good place to take profit. And maybe if you've been in this token, you'd have taken some profit there. But now with the ABC pullback, it appears to be a very clear three-wave pullback there, potentially a good point to enter again. So maybe we'll push well beyond this 100%, maybe to the 1.618, which if it did that, we're looking at $2, and we're currently $1.18. So again, that would be a very substantial potential rise. As I say, again, no guarantees, but this looks to me to be one of the better tokens with real solid use case, got great liquidity. It's actually one of the tokens which is up quite nicely today. It's up 2.4% so far today. And there's a lot of tokens on the downside. Fun enough, actually, a lot of the memes are actually looking pretty healthy, but there's a lot of tokens looking healthier today. Even Bitcoin has had a little bit of a rebound overnight. So that's one to watch out for. Ondo, another one, Toncoin, and the other one, of course, eBay. eBay is not in the same category as these. eBay is, although it's been developing for 5 years, it's actually right at the beginning of its journey. It's at the bottom of the mountain. It's got a long way to climb. One of those tokens which doesn't have great liquidity, but it does have great potential in terms of the technology. So I think the fact that we're migrating, or we're basically moving over to the Solana chain and doing a lot of marketing linked up with that, I think should be a major opportunity. So it's not one that's already made it, it's one that might make it, and I believe it will make it. So it's an opportunity for the future. These two, Ton and Ondo, are very solid, but then we'll move over to the real big solid ones, like, for example, we will look at Bitcoin here. We said yesterday it was a good potential entry point. We actually, and see the price moved up from our entry point quite nicely. So we had the downgrade when price moved down. We had an upgrade, price moved up. We've actually had another downgrade in BTC. So we'll just see where that goes. Hard to say. I think, as I say, this is all corrective. So we should push to the upside fairly soon. But it's just a matter of when we turn. There are no guarantees. It's really difficult to say. Again, if I looked at an extension there just very, very quickly, just measure this first wave down to there. That's 100%. And just transpose that to there. So potentially we may have a bit lower to go. So we reached the 1.382 extension and turned higher. That may be enough. As a correction, that's perfectly reasonable. 100% is normally the most common. 100% has already been surpassed when we went up and then came back down through the bottom of this W wave here. So we surpassed 100%, and we're heading now possibly towards the 1.618, but we have actually turned for the time being at the 1.382. So that's another very, very important Fibonacci ratio. It's actually 0.382 is the 0.618 squared. But it is actually a proper Fibonacci ratio and a good potential turning point. So we've seen a good price rise from what we said yesterday, that it was a good entry point. If you had entered, you can potentially protect your position now in guaranteed profit and hopefully move to the upside. But if this downgrade that we've just had, we've actually, as I say, after this, we've since had a downgrade now. And I'll just just move it around. We've had a downgrade. So if that downgrade now does show price coming down, then potentially you will be protected, so you don't need to worry. But it would also provide another opportunity perhaps to enter at a lower price. So that's Bitcoin. Ethereum's a very similar story. Solana's been a very interesting one to watch. Solana once again turned on a very important fib level, 1.618 yet again. If this moved down here, so I measured the A wave, transposed it to the B wave, 1.618 took us to almost precisely where the price came down to, spiked a fraction below, but that was the turning point. We moved up. So far, it's 3 waves up, so we can't be sure whether we have genuinely turned to the upside. But I'm hopeful because it reached that 1.618, which is a very, very important level. So my ideal target would now be for Solana to push higher, possibly to 199, would be a nice 100% extension of the previous W wave measured here. So if you measure this wave, transpose it to here, the top, the 100% would be to here, $199 potentially for Solana. So again, round about here was a really good entry point with a stop loss just below. The fact it's moved up quite substantially now from that 128 low, it's now 138. You could, if you got in around that level, perhaps the reasonable entry level would have been about 130. You could still protect at 131. You'd be guaranteed profit no matter what happens, and potentially a big profit if the price continues to the upside. So DXY has been falling off just a little bit. We did say, in fact, I haven't put this in now. This was actually already in there saying potentially DXY had finished because we had the ABC higher, where this wave here, this C wave here, it's not labeled, but this move up here was almost equal to this move up here with the correction in the middle. So potentially that was the top. It's not certain because we did spike a bit above it, but it was only a spike. The price didn't remain above it. So potentially we might move down with the dollar. I was interested to hear what your friend Barby said just then about not managing to raise much money because of the state of the economy. I didn't realize the American economy was in a state at the moment. What do you have to say?
I know it's when you're not here and you just look at the numbers that the central bank put out and everything else, it looks fine, but the state of the economy is really rough. People that are longtime employees of different places are getting laid off. There's salary cuts that are going through. People are having to unionize because everything's getting cut. Yeah, the economy's bad. And as well, housing has taken a turn, and nobody's talking about the commercial market at all. But everything's empty. So
yeah, you're right. I have heard quite a bit about that. So you talk about stats, and I was just looking up the saying. I haven't had time to look it up, but about statistics, basically used to prove anything. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. I think the saying is, isn't it?
They'll say whatever you want them to say. I mean, that's how, they're like 4% inflation or whatever. And everyone's looking around literally like eggs are like over double. And it's not just eggs, it's steak too. It's everything. Gas is double. Insurance, schools, tolls, everything. It's like double. Like, it's like no joke. And then the taxes are going up as well. So you're getting squeezed on both sides. It's extremely noticeable for us here.
Yeah, I noticed the dominoes are toppling though around the world. So obviously I mentioned yesterday we've had the EU have dropped interest rates. We've had Canada have dropped interest rates. I noticed today that the UK, their inflation has now dropped to 2%. That's obviously the target. So I have no doubt whatsoever the UK will be dropping interest rates because their economy is spluttering at the moment. So, it's happening around the world. So this is kind of deflationary pressures around the world. They're having to drop interest rates to try to stimulate the economy. So this deflation around the world will actually be exported and imported into America. So no doubt America will catch on. Normally America leads the way. I mean, I suppose it's leading the way in terms of it's one of the strongest economies right now. But I think it is still not completely immune to the rest of the world. It's somewhat immune because there's the massive internal economy, but it's still, massive trade partners with China, etc. And we know that China, if you look at the true figures, is also struggling at the moment, and they're trying.
How about that Hong Kong Stock Exchange up 3% today?
Yeah, I know. And again, it's all about just the numbers they put out. Particularly, I mean, I say this tongue in cheek about China. Particularly China. We people often say you can't trust the figures. Well, I would say that of any country. I wouldn't put that just onto China. But
Right.
they have been saying their economy is fine, but actually the signs are that it's not so fine. But they have been stimulating their economy, supporting the real estate sector. As you know, they've been in big trouble with real estate, with Evergreen and so on. And America's got the same problems, but it's not yet come to the fore in America, but I suspect it will do. So we will be seeing, I think, lower interest rates. Whether we can see it before the election, I don't know in the US, but they will be seeing lower interest rates. And they will resort eventually, I believe, back to money printing again. And what happens then, we can't be sure. Every time you do a money printing, a round of money printing, it has slightly less effect than the time before. And money printing doesn't really have long-term positive value. It's like a sticking plaster. It covers up the problems short-term, but it doesn't address the underlying illness or the underlying problems that are there. It doesn't have a good translation effect into real growth. It's basically just used to buy risk assets and pumps up asset prices. Everybody feels great, but it doesn't really do that much for the economy. So every time they do a round of money printing, so obviously in America and around the world, they had 2008, 2009, they had the big COVID money printing, and I think they'll resort to money printing again, probably later this year, maybe the end of this year. But it has less and less effect each time round, and a shorter effect each time round. At some point, it will lose credibility because these sticking plasters don't have the long-term healing effect that is needed for the economy, which actually is going to be painful. If you address the underlying cause of the illness, as it were, it's not going to be painful. The treatment is going to be painful. This easy method of money printing is just a simple, easy way to cover up without any pain. And I don't think that that's really long-term sustainable. So that's dollar index looking as though it's coming down a little bit. So if it does continue to the downside, that's going to be good for risk assets. I've got the arrow here. I think we could get one more wave to the downside to give us a new low below here. If that's the case, I don't doubt we're going to get another pump in risk assets, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, the lot basically. Here's one just very briefly that we mentioned yesterday. I said Litecoin was looking like a good buy. Whenever it dips into this area, especially when it dips below this area, this stop loss area, it's time to buy. So when it did dip there once before, when I say once before, I mean recently, dipped below again, but you can see it didn't close below. So these spikes below are great opportunities to buy, and that was a buy signal. So we had a sell signal up here. That signal was shown to us because we had this hidden bearish divergence, which told us the price was going down. And then here we don't have any divergences as far as I can see, but we do have the fact that it dipped below this, just briefly dipped below, but because it didn't stay below, it meant once it comes back above, it means it's probably a good buy with a stop loss close below with potential upside to come. That's what's happening now, potentially protect it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Litecoin is the right coin. So we have to jump into the next segment here. I know we're full today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Another great report, and I'm super excited about Ave.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I look forward to that. Thanks for having me again. Enjoy the rest of the show, and I'll be listening. Thank you.
Awesome, Matt. Talk soon, my brother.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bruce.
All right, thank you. So I had a talk yesterday with a company called Scorecast, and they are doing a platform, and it's using AI in order to for betting odds and whatnot like this. So super interesting. I wanted to bring it to you guys. I wanted to show it to you, and here it is. Check it out. Hey everybody, so for the showcase portion of the show today, I want to talk about Scorecast. This is an exciting new platform that I ran across, and I had to tell you about it because it is pretty cool. It's a bullish alpha project, AI and sports. It's a cast, $CAST on ETH. added this to my watch list, and I have taken a position as well. I do believe that Scorecast could become the leader in the AI sports narrative within the crypto ecosystem. The target for me would be 20 million plus market cap. Scorecast AI has a live Euro 2024 tracker with predictions from their AI models. Now, if you remember, we use a lot of AI models in our predictions for the markets. And so it's one of the reasons why this has been pretty interesting for me to look at. The project has also launched a streaming channel on Telegram, which allows subscribers to watch live games from all the major sports. One of the things I'm particularly bullish on is the drive for real-world adoption and usage of the Cast tokens. Their Telegram live sports channel, Cast Stream, will be token gated for the first 100 subscribers. That means users wishing to use and to access the live sports streaming channel have to pay for the subscription fee in Cast tokens. So that is, you always want those types of things, those types of utilities, right? They're so important. So I'm going to run through some of this stuff. I want to show you some of the cool features that I think about it. And then we can kind of go from there. AI is so hot right now. It's just really just jamming. So I am going to click right into their website right here. And this is the main website. Of course, I have a bit of it behind me as well, right? So let me just make sure that's loading correctly. Okay, so here we are. Scorecast. It's the AI sports predictor. Turn the odds in your favor. Leverage the power of AI to make smarter soccer betting decisions and beat your favorite bookmaker. So Euro 2024 is hot right now. It has a link right up here in the top area, and you can click that, and that takes you right over here. And then they have the different things that you can bet on, the predictions, okay, Scorecast predictions. It has the percentages right here. It also has in-play stats. This is the Croatian-Albania game. There's different games that we can click in, of course, from here. And then you can, betting is big, right? It's big, big business. But the fact that they're using AI in order to make these predictions, to me, machine learning and AI, this is like next level, right? As you know, and as I mentioned just a minute ago, we use AI predictors in our analysis of the markets every day, okay? And, this type of stuff is just huge. So, okay, let me go back to the website here and continue this. Let me put it back on my screen here. So here we are back at the main website. You can see some of their partners that they have here. The website is scorecast.ai. Your sports betting experience revolutionized. Unlock the power of precision with Scorecast AI, your ultimate companion in the sports betting. Harnessing the might of advanced statistics, data analysis, and mathematical modeling, Scorecast offers unparalleled insight into the world of sports and football betting. So they're starting with football, and then they're going to go from there. And I'm going to add right here a banner. Scorecast.ai $cast. Okay, and we'll add this banner. And I'll put that down here at the bottom. There you go. Scorecast.ai $cast is the token. It just launched. And I'm going to look at the markets. I'm going to scroll over the markets here in a minute. I like them when they're like this. You know me. I like to get in early. I like to get them when they're small and when they have room to grow. Okay. Right now it's still under. It's like a $500,000 market cap or something like that. They've had a nice run up. Anyway, we're going to go over that in a minute. advanced analytics, data-driven decisions, advanced analytics, and predictive modeling unleashed. At the heart of Scorecast AI is a robust algorithm that sifts through vast data sets, analyzing trends, patterns, and statistics to forecast match outcomes with impressive accuracy. Now, when you're using an AI model like this, it's like I always talk about, and like we always talk about with the charts, okay? Sometimes you don't know why, it does it. Like, why is it going to do it? Well, I don't know why. I just know that the chart tells me it's going to do this. And so it's not always right, okay? It's not always right, but it's predictive, and they can predict things at a higher rate, and it can help out. Nothing is 100%, of course, and not financial advice as well, especially on new projects like this. This one is specifically, I thought, cool, and I'm bullish on it because they're using AI and have a nice ecosystem, and I like what they're doing on with football. Nice entry point, in my opinion, that it looks like here. So we have specialized insights into the world's most popular sports. Initially concentrating on the world's most popular sport, soccer, Scorecast AI Predictor provides in-depth analysis predicting outcomes from the leagues across the globe. Whether it's the intensity of European competitions or the dynamicism of South American matches, we have got you covered. Top Football Leagues covered extensive league coverage they have here, okay? From Top Football Leagues covered and many more to come. From the high-octane action of Europe's elite competitions and the hidden gems of the lesser-known leagues, Scorecast AI delivers precise predictions and the knowledge you need to make informed bets across the board. Discover the value in every corner of the soccer world and gain an edge in your betting strategy with our comprehensive and predictive analysis and league coverage. So pretty cool too. You can you can log in to their Telegram, and that's all on my X account. I put this out. So if you're watching on TV, go to scorecast.ai and follow those links there. But if you're following on X or one of the other platforms, you'll see I have their Telegram link there. And from the Telegram, like I mentioned, you can watch the live streaming games. So you request access for that, and you have to have Score. You have to have Score, or you have to have Cast tokens, okay, in order to see the live stream. So it's cool. It's cool. So moving on along here on the website here, they have several different plans. HODL the least, you have 10,000, and you get if it's for casual bettors, better for those starting with their journey in sports betting who prefer a simpler approach. The plan is access to the predictions from the two predefined leagues carefully selected to provide the solid foundations for your betting decisions. The standard plans is just 25,000 cast, and that's for sports betting enthusiasts. Get expanded coverage for more refined AI-powered betting strategies and predictions. Grants access to predictions from the European League, EPL, La Liga, and Bundesliga, and others covered in the light plan. And then you have the pro plan, which is 50,000 cast, and that's for sports betting lovers ready to embrace the full power of Scorecast AI. Grant access to predictions for all leagues we cover, including any new leagues added to the future. Ideal if you want no limits on their data-driven journey. Then they talk about the tokenomics. Obviously, it's cast, dollar cast. There's a tax 4 and 4 on that. Of course, that is great. That is great for liquidity in the dexes. Okay, it is. Total supply is 100 million. They have the contract address right here that I did share on my X post. You can see that right there. You can see here ecosystem liquidity pool is 60%. They have the ecosystem rewards 12.5, strategic sales 12. You can look at all this on the website. Marketing for CEXs, which are centralized exchanges, at 10%. And then this one in purple is a little hard for me to see. Team vested 1 year is 5%, so they are vested. It's always important to see that. You see the vested. Nobody wants to be in a situation where people can just unload on you, right? They do have their phases here. Foundation and expansion is phase 1. Phase 2, enhancement and diversification, feature enhancements, and then phase 3. And you can read all this on the website at scorecast.ai. Innovations and integrations are phase 3, and that's the advanced features rollout. Implement advanced machine learning models to further refine the predictive accuracy. So I want to shoot on over here to the market. Okay, so on the market here, we can see that, okay, it has just launched right over here, right? It's just launched. And if I scroll here to the hourly, you can see, so we had June 13th it launched. So today is the 19th, right? So June 13th it's launched. It's about 6 days old at this point, if that's correct, depending on the 5 or 6 days. And you see here, big push up, initial push, and then it looks like we kind of have a bottom forming right here. Current market cap is about $500,000, okay? And yeah, so it's available on Uniswap. I have that link, I think, is for you as well. But anyway, if you just follow the contract address, that's going to get you there, okay? So it's scorecast.ai. Check them out. I like the project. Okay, not financial advice and all that good stuff. But it looks pretty cool to me. Check it out, scorecast.ai. $cast. You can get it on Uniswap right now with some Ethereum. Cheers. All right, well, there you have it, guys. It's always fun to do these new projects that are coming out. It's one of the things I always loved about this space was the new technology that it comes out, around all types of things. AI is just hot. It's so hot. So that's cool. And you saw even we use ETH to trade, and that's AI. So if this, I don't know if this is predictive will be as good as ETH's, but certainly it is pretty interesting, and it looks like a nice one. So not financial advice and all that stuff I'm supposed to say. Do your own research and everything, but it looks pretty cool. So we are with everything that is going on right now. I think, as I wrap up the show here, I want to talk really to you, and I want you to pay attention to what is going on in the world, because we are at a point right now where there's like no turning back, right? I mean, there's like it's pretty rough. So right now with Putin and Kim together, they're obviously going to set some things. You see Putin is flexing, walking on the Philippines Coast Guard ship. I wonder what the story is behind that as well. From what I understand, there are Russian ships that you can see from, this is a report I saw. I don't know. I haven't verified it yet. You can see the ships from the coast of Florida. So it's hard for me to believe. That is the report that I saw. But whatever the story is, we are, flirting with all, total disaster, whether it's over in Eastern Europe or whether it's in the Middle East or any of these places. And I think one thing I would like to tell everybody is, in general, you always want peace. We always want peace. And, the second thing is you probably don't want to follow people into war that have a bad track record. And one of the things that came clear to me over the last little bit was that Anthony Blinken is he's the guy that set up the whole Steele dossier deal on Trump. I thought this was very extraordinary. I mean, there's so much stuff going on that it's hard to even keep track. So I'm going to share my screen here and just show you. This is a post that I put out last night. I know we only have a couple more minutes here, but I want to show it to you because I think it's important. So here we go. So Charlie Kirk put this out. Of course, Charlie Kirk is the guy who just did the Turning Point conference that Trump went to, the People's Convention. He said, I still can't get over the fact that Anthony Blinken orchestrated the infamous Hunter laptop is Russian disinfo intel letter, and that he's faced zero consequences. That the man got our intelligence community to lie in order to rig an election and was rewarded with the Secretary of State job. Now, I said above that, I screen capped it and said, Anthony Blinken is currently pretty much the commander-in-chief as Biden plays senile old man, so he's never charged for his crime. Let that sink in. The point is here, guys, that Anthony Blinken is like the guy headed over to the Middle East all the time in order to put this whole thing together. He's a bad dude, obviously. So if that's the guy taking us into war, we got to look at stuff, okay? And of course, you saw him over there playing the guitar over in the Ukraine and Eastern Europe as well. So this is the guy that he is basically acting as, like I said in my post, he's basically acting as the commander-in-chief as Biden, in my opinion, is playing the senile old man so that he'll never get in trouble. Anyway, biggest thing we want to do is have peace. Peace leads to prosperity. Peace leads to safety for your kids. Peace leads to future for your future, great safety and prosperity for your future generations. Cheers, guys. See you in a few hours.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.